The U.S. economy is shifting, and some states are grappling with severe financial difficulties that impact everything from real estate to the cost of living. In this video, we'll break down the 10 states facing the toughest economic struggles, places where budget shortfalls, financial instability, and economic inequality are making life harder for residents. These states are in decline, struggling with government finances and an uncertain future. What's driving these downward trends? How do these issues affect rankings and overall living conditions? Stick around as we unveil the states facing the most severe economic hardships in America. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Expedition Explorers, and turn on notifications for more insightful economic breakdowns. Now, let's get started. 10. Tennessee. Tennessee is one of the fastest growing states in America, drawing new residents like tourists to a Nashville honky-tonk. But here's the twist: population growth doesn't always translate into economic prosperity. And Tennessee is a prime example. On one hand, you have Nashville, a booming tech and music hub where fortunes are being made. On the other, rural Tennessee is struggling to make ends meet, like a game of financial Jenga. One wrong move, and everything collapses. The median household income hovers around $67,690, barely keeping pace with the national average. The real problem? A significant portion of jobs here fall under low-wage service industries, tourism, retail, and hospitality. And last time we checked, working as a server at a barbecue joint doesn't come with a six-figure salary. Meanwhile, the cost of living is creeping up faster than a raccoon on a hot tin roof. Tennessee boasts no state income tax, which sounds great, until you realize that less tax revenue means fewer funds for public services. Budget cuts hit education and healthcare hard, leaving public schools struggling and rural hospitals shutting down. Tennessee is at a crossroads. Will it invest in infrastructure, education, and economic diversity? Or will it continue banking on country music and hot chicken to pay the bills? Right now, the financial outlook is shakier than a first-time line dancer. 9. South Carolina. South Carolina is in financial distress, with a poverty rate of 14.68% and a median household income of $67,800. While that might seem decent, rent prices are climbing faster than a squirrel up a palmetto tree. The state's economy largely relies on two pillars, manufacturing and tourism. But neither guarantees high-paying, stable employment. Sure, South Carolina is home to auto plants and aerospace factories. But not everyone lands one of those high-paying gigs. Tourism pumps billions into the economy, but service jobs, like hotel clerks and restaurant servers, aren't exactly paying luxury wages. The wealth gap is widening, and while cities like Charleston and Greenville show some growth, rural communities are being left behind. Many small towns lack access to quality healthcare, education, and job opportunities, creating a vicious cycle of economic struggle. South Carolina used to be an affordable place to live. But those days are fading fast, as housing prices have skyrocketed. Wages, however, have remained stagnant, leaving many families struggling to keep up. If South Carolina doesn't invest in higher-paying industries, address housing affordability, and improve economic mobility, the state will continue skating on thin financial ice. 8. Oklahoma. Oklahoma. The land of cowboys, country roads, and an economy that just can't seem to catch a break. With a poverty rate of 15.27% and a median household income of $62,400, financial hardship is a way of life here. The problem? Oklahoma is deeply tied to the oil industry. When energy prices soar, the state thrives. When they plummet, everything comes crashing down. Instead of diversifying its economy, Oklahoma clings to oil and gas like a bad relationship that just won't end. When prices fall, job losses surge, state revenue shrinks, and public services suffer. Budget cuts have left schools underfunded, hospitals struggling, and roads in disrepair. Teachers have protested for years due to some of the lowest salaries in the country, and rural healthcare access is abysmal. Natural disasters only add to the turmoil. Tornadoes, droughts, and ice storms hit the state hard, draining already limited resources. Unless Oklahoma makes serious investments in economic diversification and public services, this financial rollercoaster isn't slowing down anytime soon. 7. Alabama. With a poverty rate of 15.98% and a median household income of just $62,400, Alabama's economy is teetering on the edge. While the state may boast legendary college football, its economic scoreboard isn't looking great. Alabama has faced slow economic growth for years, with industries like manufacturing and agriculture providing jobs but not necessarily prosperity. Rural areas are particularly vulnerable, with limited access to education, healthcare, and well-paying jobs. Meanwhile, income inequality is a major issue. Some communities thrive while others struggle just to get by. Public education is another weak spot. Alabama consistently ranks near the bottom in national education performance, with underfunded schools and underpaid teachers. Without significant investments in workforce development and economic mobility, Alabama risks being left behind. 6. Arkansas. Arkansas is a state of breathtaking natural beauty, but when it comes to economic stability, it's another story. With a poverty rate of 16.08% and a median household income of $58,700, Arkansas struggles to keep up. The state relies heavily on agriculture, rice, poultry, and soybeans. While that sustains livelihoods, it doesn't generate widespread wealth. High-paying jobs in tech, finance, and healthcare are scarce, leaving Arkansas stuck in an outdated economic model. The education system is another hurdle. Low graduation rates and underfunded schools mean many residents aren't equipped for modern, high-paying careers. Without a well-educated workforce, Arkansas remains trapped in a cycle of low wages and economic stagnation. The state needs urgent investment in job diversification, education, and infrastructure. Otherwise, it risks remaining one of the most financially strained states in the country. These are just a few of the states struggling to stay afloat. As we continue down the list, the economic challenges become even more severe. Stay tuned as we reveal the remaining top 5 states facing the biggest financial crises in America. If you found this breakdown insightful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into economic trends. Let us know in the comments, do you live in one of these states? What's your experience with the economy there? We'd love to hear from you. Number 5. Kentucky, KY. Kentucky's financial situation is in rough shape, kind of like a racehorse trying to roller skate. With a poverty rate of 16.61% and a median household income of just $61,800, the bluegrass state isn't exactly swimming in cash. It's grappling with job losses, the opioid crisis, and an economy that seems as wobbly as a Jenga tower during an earthquake. Once a coal king, Kentucky relied heavily on mining jobs to keep people fed. But today, that industry is shrinking faster than a cheap suit in the dryer, leaving thousands of workers scrambling to find new jobs. The real issue? Those high-paying coal jobs aren't being replaced with anything close in salary. Manufacturing jobs are also disappearing because, surprise, companies are outsourcing or automating everything. Unless you're one of the lucky few working in the thriving bourbon industry, job prospects in Kentucky are looking grim. To make things worse, the state's opioid crisis has reached disastrous proportions, with one of the highest overdose rates in the nation. This isn't just a public health catastrophe, it's an economic nightmare. A large portion of the working-age population is either struggling with addiction or out of the workforce entirely. When people can't work, the economy suffers even more, creating a vicious cycle. Number 4. West Virginia. West Virginia, where the mountains are high, but wages are low. If John Denver were writing Take Me Home, Country Roads today, he might add a verse about economic decline, a shrinking workforce, and the state government scrambling for funds. With a poverty rate of 17.1% and a median household income of just $55,940, West Virginia is one of the most financially strained states in the country. For decades, West Virginia relied on coal like a kid on candy. It worked while it lasted. But now, the industry isn't the powerhouse it once was, and as demand for coal has dropped, so have jobs, wages, and overall economic stability. The problem is, West Virginia never had a backup plan. Instead of diversifying into tech, manufacturing, or other industries, the state stuck with coal, and now it's too late. It's like showing up to a party when the food's already gone. And it's not just jobs that are disappearing, people are leaving too. The state's population has been shrinking for years, with young professionals heading to places with better job prospects, higher wages, and reliable Wi-Fi. This creates a nasty economic chain reaction. Fewer workers mean fewer businesses mean less tax revenue, and less tax revenue means cuts to education and healthcare. Number 3. New Mexico. New Mexico, the state that gave us Breaking Bad, breathtaking desert landscapes, and one of the highest poverty rates in the nation. With a poverty rate of 18.55% and a median household income of just $62,400, New Mexico is struggling harder than a tumbleweed in a windstorm. For a place called the Land of Enchantment, you'd expect a bit more magic in the economy. But instead, New Mexico is trapped in a cycle of unemployment, budget cuts, and a job market that looks about as lively as a ghost town. If you're looking for stable, high-paying jobs, New Mexico might not be the place. The state's economy heavily relies on government jobs, tourism, and oil and gas, but here's the issue. Government funding is unstable, tourism is seasonal, and oil and gas prices fluctuate wildly. Meanwhile, industries like tech and finance bypass New Mexico for places like Texas and Arizona. The state's education system is another big problem. It consistently ranks near the bottom in national education rankings, leaving students without the skills needed for higher-paying jobs. This weakens the job market, keeps wages low, and increases economic disparity. Number 2. Louisiana. Louisiana may know how to throw a party, but its economy looks like it's recovering from a decade-long Bourbon Street hangover. With a poverty rate of 18.65% and a median household income of just $48,229, Louisiana is struggling harder than a tourist trying to pronounce Chauvin Street. The state's economy is completely reliant on oil and gas, and while things seem fine when the industry is booming, they take a nosedive when oil prices drop. As the world shifts to renewable energy, Louisiana's dependence on fossil fuels is turning into a financial time bomb. To make matters worse, Louisiana faces some of the highest crime rates in the nation. Not exactly a great attraction for businesses looking to set up shop. And the state's long history of government corruption and budget mismanagement has made getting anything done a challenge. The infrastructure is falling apart. Roads and bridges are in terrible shape, and the state's constant battle with natural disasters only adds to the financial strain. Climate change is only making things worse, with more storms, more damage, and more bills the state can't afford. Number 1. Mississippi, and finally, the grand finale, Mississippi. Holding on to economic hardship like it's a family heirloom, Mississippi leads the nation in poverty, with a rate of 19.58% and a median household income of just $54,223. If you thought the other states on this list were struggling, Mississippi just takes it to the next level. The state's economy depends heavily on agriculture and manufacturing, but farming and factory jobs just don't pay what they used to, and automation is taking over. Competing with bigger states that have more investment and better infrastructure feels like bringing a butter knife to a sword fight. Infrastructure is a major issue too. Mississippi's roads are a disaster, making it hard for businesses to thrive. The state also ranks near the bottom in education and healthcare. Schools are underfunded, and healthcare options are scarce, especially in rural areas. The cost of living might be low, but so are the wages. It's like winning a contest for a prize you can't even afford. What can be done? What do you think? Have you lived in one of these states or are you planning to move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening videos. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and if you're driving through Mississippi, maybe invest in some seriously good shock absorber.